on magic and illusion. Okay. Those sound like very interesting topics. Topic. On magic and illusion. Okay, so this is kind of, I don't know. They're topics, I think the areas where magic and illusion kind of are still alive in some, both literal and figurative sense might be like most pronounced in acting in the film industry, because if an actor or an actress executes their role very well, it might feel like magic, which might be part of the illusion of acting. And so this is not a movie, this is a video. It's not being filmed as an intent as a movie. Okay, point being, I'm being very long getting around to this. Things that some might claim are supernatural, some people might just be about putting on a certain show and using really cutting edge technology and stuff like that. And it's about kind of not revealing how it's done at the time of the performance. Some people reveal after the fact. Some people, a lot of people do want to reveal after the fact. Just they want to keep that control aspect to magic or illusion. And so this is kind of the motivation for this video, is Paul Giamatti and David Wheeler, if I'm getting the name correct. So David Wheeler was Cypress Crab in Dinotopia, and he's one where I'd say like he nailed the villain role. There's a certain magic to it in Dinotopia, and then something like 15 or 20 years later for both of these actors, there's like a 15 to 20 year later illusion aspects. So like I saw Wonder Woman in theaters. I went with my friend and we're leaving the theater, and she asked me like, did you know he was gonna be Aries and stuff, or like did you know, like kind of something like that. I was like, well, that's not really fair, because as soon as David Wheeler shows up on stage, I was just like, yep, I know who he is in this movie, kind of thing. And so I was like, I'm an invalid entry because I saw him as the villain in Dinotopia, kind of thing. And so I watched Dinotopia and it stuck with me, which is actually rather impressive. So Hollywood has a certain magic in certain actors, and actresses, not all of them by any means. For me, anyway, because my noggin, I took a fall. And I'm saying it's really remarkable that I remembered that about this one actor. When I have had a head injury and had like impairment to my long-term memory, and at that point in time I couldn't even remember my sister, but I could remember this guy from Dinotopia who played the villain so well that I knew he was the villain in Wonder Woman, the 2017 Wonder Woman. I think it's 2017. And then Paul Giamatti, something similar. It's like in Jungle Cruise 2021, watched it at home at my grandma's house with my grandma, and like Paul Giamatti was there, and I'm just like, oh yeah, in 2002 he was in Big Fat Liar, which like both of those actors have a certain magic in executing the illusion perhaps of certain roles extremely well. And so this is motivated by them, and kind of some industries, I wouldn't call it capitalize. I think if someone's actually good enough at what they do, that can kind of carry over to different professions, not just acting. It's just maybe most pronounced in acting. So how do I feel? So this is on magic and illusion. This is, I was thinking of how do I parse it down? How do I shorten it? What's a concise way of communicating how I feel about magic and illusion? I'm going to say a parlor trick is a parlor trick no matter the authenticity. So some people will claim supernatural powers, but it's really mechanical illusion kind of thing. Or they'll claim supernatural powers and claim it as magic or illusion. And some people will be it natural magic, naturally existing magic, or like carefully or like equipment kind of magic or illusion, at the root of both is it's all about parlor tricks. No matter if it's supernatural or natural or just really cutting edge technology or archaic technology being brought back for kind of shock and awe value, a parlor trick is something done to entertain. That's the heart of magic and illusion. And so if someone is not comfortable, I would phrase it a bit as this: if a magician or an illusionist is so sensitive to how their performance is going to be interpreted, because chances are if it's well executed enough or poorly executed enough, it will be interpreted as one or the other, right? Somebody might, right, if someone passes them off as a supernatural power and it's poorly executed or really well executed, someone might interpret it as just cutting edge technology. So I'd say if somebody is doing something to get a certain interpretation of what they've done, perhaps being a magician or illusionist is not the right profession, because the interpretation of a magical or illusion is a magical act or an illusion. Well, it's done for entertainment. And so at that sense, uniquely, the interpretation of those acts or illusions are entirely out of the control of the illusionist or the magician. They can try and control it, but by controlling it, it makes it even potentially less entertaining. Yeah, there's a reason why magicians and illusionists aren't as prevalent in society as they used to be, especially as a career. And so just, I think magicians and illusionists can lose sight of at the end of the day, parlor tricks, it's not a gimmick. So a gimmick is something that's just done for show. Parlor tricks are parlor tricks because they're there to they're there to entertain, and there's intent behind them. And so in that sense, I'd say sometimes magicians and illusionists can forget like why they're there in the first place. And like, even if they've communicated that, and everybody can be forgetful. It's just, at the end of the day, it's there for entertainment. So I would say some people who really dislike magic and illusion would probably use the term a gimmick to describe those. I actually enjoy magical performances and illusion and stuff like that. But I also value that they are there for entertainment kind of thing. I think and I will throw a caveat in there, as long as the magician or the illusionist respects the audience. Because if they're doing nobody can possibly do this. The problem with a lot of magicians and illusionists who do that is some of us work in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and so even if we don't know the exact apparatus being used, we can venture a good enough guess that it can ruin the performance. And so assuming it's actually the act of assuming the audience doesn't know that ruins the performance, as opposed to just performing. So there's magic and illusion can be rub those who actually design the apparatuses that are used, can rub them a bit wrong way, because we know we built the thing in the first place. So and then they're like, oh, we know this and nobody else can do this. And it's like, honey, you literally, we designed that. It's like, just like accepting reality would be a good thing. So business model. This is like one form of business model and its progression. So in the past, this is like the little history I know of magicians and illusionists and why they went out of business on a global scale compared to what they used to be, is they rely cutting edge technology. So like technology and science, because even if they can build the technology themselves, the science can be developed by usually once something's developed or like a breakthrough in science occurs, it can be integrated in technology. So they might not necessarily be seeking technology. Some people do make their own apparatuses, so then they might be looking for science, or they might be looking for an old apparatus or something really archaic that they could use for their performance. And then